Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great day. I want to deal with the Micah Parsons situation. It's a safe bet to say that the Cowboys have done themselves real self-inflicted harm at this point. And we do not know if Micah Parsons is going to play week one. Now, let's be clear here. Micah Parsons had an MRI. The Cowboys took an MRI, and their MRI of his back came back clean. Micah Parsons says, I've still got back tightness. And, back tightness, that's one of those things that you can't prove that it's not there. And it could get ugly. So even if Micah Parsons does start practicing this week, if he does, it's still, he has not had any football real work. None. Training camp. He's went through some walkthroughs and he's been at meetings. He knows the plays. But there's no way in the world that you believe that he is going to be 100% go. He's not going to be able to. And now you also have to worry about, because you're going from 0 to 100, worrying about soft tissue injuries. A hamstring can end up being months to heal. And the reality is this was not necessary because of Jerry Jones. Now, is this a death sentence for the Cowboys? Let's be clear here. Micah Parsons, regardless of what people like Momo said, he's just a third down specialist. That's the only time that you want him out there. I disagree with that. Anybody who can lead the league in pressures, anytime you can have a team that leads the league in pressures, when most teams run against you, you're not having as many opportunities because our offense couldn't score. You're doing some real damage. And we've seen the defense with him and without him. Now, I will say this much. As we go through here and we look and we say, Micah Parsons probably is not going to be a full go. Is it a death sentence? I'm going to say that it's probably not, because I think we're in a better position this year than we were last year. If you remember, early on in training camp, we lost Sam Williams. We were literally getting people off the street. Carl Lawson, who still is not employed right now, was one of our key pass rushers. We had lost Dante Fowler, who goes to Washington and has 10.5 sacks. So the good news maybe is one of the strengths of this team is edge rushing. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, is it raw and unproven? Very much so. But when you start thinking of this, now as we go through before the 53-man cuts, when you look at where we are at right defensive end, of course, Micah Parsons is the starter if he's on the roster. But his backup is Dante Fowler. Okay, I see you. 10.5 sacks last year and in a part-time role. Behind him is Sam Williams. Sam Williams, fully healthy right now, and definitely at the point where he wants to play and play well because he's looking to get a contract. And then behind him, we have Donovan Easy, who has been chomping at the bit to do some really good things. So I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that any one of those guys are Micah Parsons. However, that rotation, what we possibly have been looking at to be able to do is to be able to play a Dante Fowler or Sam Williams or Donovan Easy significant time and free up and use Micah Parsons as a wild card. When we look at the other side, left defensive end, got Marshawn Nealon, Tavarius Wheat, Peyton Turner, and at the moment, James Houston. I think James Houston actually makes the roster because he's actually shown really, really well in preseason. So it will hurt. Let's be clear. It will hurt the Dallas Cowboys not having Micah Parsons. However, here's the other thing going in against the Eagles. Run stopping was not the key to Micah Parsons' game at defensive end. Okay? knowing the Eagles, which are a run-first team, it doesn't necessarily hurt you as much. What's going to hurt us is, can we stop the run? That's going to be the bottom line. Can we stop the run and force the Eagles to actually pass the football more, where we can use our strength, which is our edge rushers? The other part of the equation that may help us is we may be in better situations because our linebacking core is better than what it was. When you start looking at this and you start saying we got Martez Latufu and Damone Clark, and Damone Clark has turned the narrative around. He is actually playing really well right now. At least in training camp, we've seen him turn it around, and we've seen him in preseason games playing really well. You look at that and say you have a better linebacking core. Kenneth Murray, although he hasn't played much in preseason because the Cowboys are trying to keep them together, actually has played really well. Samar James has done pretty good in there as well on the strong side. And eventually we get back to Damone Clark. And in the middle linebacker, Jack Sanborn has looked like the real deal. We have Justin Barron behind him. So from a standpoint of helping to support the run, I will say that we are in a better position with the linebackers. We're still soft up the middle. And I think the key on that is, as we're cutting down and getting rid of guys, we still need to bring in another stud. I still have hope for Mozzie, and Mozzie, I don't think the Cowboys will just cut him, because then you're basically paying him, even though he's not here. It's $5.5 million. If the Cowboys do anything, I would say they would try and look to make a trade for Mozzie to somebody as opposed to cutting him. And Mozzie has just been inconsistent more than anything else. So those things right there are more of the issue. Micah Parsons, wild card that helps take you to another level. Micah Parsons, without him, we take a step back, but I don't know that that's the death nail against the Eagles. The bottom line with the Eagles is we got to score, flat out. And for most of the season, we're going to need to score a lot of points. And that will be the more of the key for the Cowboys. But, Jerry, we've wasted enough time. We've wasted 18 months on getting this thing done. You and Catboy and all this bullshit that you do of waiting till the last minute to try and get these deals done that truly cost you more money, we got to stop doing. We just have to stop doing this. All right, you good people. We'll keep waiting and watching to see what happens with the cut downs. Peace.